So if there's an important aspect of productivity that kind of seems to be neglected, it's not the time, it's not the hours you put in, right? Because so many of us are so heavily focused on the amount of time we put in, on the amount of hours we put in, that we never actually look at the potency of those hours, at the potency of the time that we put in. We never make sure that the 2 hours we spend editing that video is actually a good 2 hour focused editing session, right? Because we could have been editing a video for 2 hours, but we could have been doing it unfocused, right? Every 10 minutes we could have been getting up to go to the bathroom, or been getting up to make ourselves a coffee, right? Or we could have been just doing unnecessary shit that's destroying our focus and destroying our productivity as well. Because if we can increase like this booster of productivity, kind of, because imagine if you're working for 1 hour but you only have like one focus, but then you see another person who's also working for 1 hour but they have 5 focus. That person is going to get so much more because their level of focus is higher. So how do we increase our level of focus? Well, today that's what I want to teach you. I'm sorry if the intro was like kind of weird and didn't make sense, but I want to give you some tips as to how to improve your focus. And once you improve your focus, like, your life will absolutely change. So before we look into how we can get you focused, we have to look as to why you're not focused. And the single greatest reason why you just can't focus is because of your short ass attention span. And your short attention span is caused by you scrolling all day. I can nearly feel it. Like, when I have scrolling sessions, because I have scrolling sessions as well, like, I notice this, like, it'll feel weird. It feels weird for you to, like, scroll a lot and then go read a book, right? Or it'll feel weird for you to scroll a lot and then go work. But that's exactly what you're doing. Like, anytime you possibly can, you open your phone, you go on YouTube, or you go on whatever app you're using, right? And then you start scrolling. And so this gives your brain like an incessant need for dopamine and for satisfaction. And when you're working, you don't necessarily get that urge. And like, that's a different topic from the attention span. But scrolling just gives you this shit attention span, because whenever your brain isn't satisfied, it switches its attention to the other short and the other short and the other short. So you're just training your brain to latch on to pieces of information from like microseconds at a time. And so obviously you can't work when you are like trying to work. So the greatest way to actually break this is to meditate. And meditation not only like increases your focus, because you're literally like focusing when you're meditating, but it also reduces the amount of time you spend scrolling. So it's like a bonus. With meditation, you become mindful. Like, when you're having those scrolling sessions and you've been meditating, you become mindful of the fact that, oh, like, I don't really want to be doing this, and you switch off. So that also teaches your brain to become aware of distractions and to like kill them when they come. So meditation increases focus, it increases your attention span, which destroys that scrolling problem, and it's a great way to build mindfulness, all of which are necessary for building focus. So start meditating daily. Like, you won't get to an hour every single day. Like, when I was peak prime Sasha, I was meditating 80 minutes every single day, and that was probably the happiest, the most focused, the most productive I ever was. Now I simply, like, I don't have the time, or I'm not making the time. I don't know whether I'm coping. But essentially, the more you meditate, the more you will be productive, and the more you will be focused. So the next and actually last thing that I want to talk about, because we've covered short attention span, distractions, and meditation, is diet. So essentially, do not eat carbs unless you finished all of your work. That's simple as that. Like, don't eat pasta, don't eat rice, don't eat pizza, don't eat any processed foods until you finished your work. Because essentially, when you eat carbs, it takes an insane amount of energy for your body to digest, and that's energy that could and that should be used for your work. So instead of using all that energy to process carbs, your brain should be using that for brain power. But it's not. And when you cut out carbs, you're finally using all that energy that you have to actually do work that is meaningful to you. And Now, I want you to mix this with the single greatest productivity tactic I know, which will increase your focus probably the most: intermittent fasting. Essentially, do not eat until you finish your work. Now, like if you're a student, you wake up, you do not eat, you do not touch anything, you do all your work, and then you can have a bit of breakfast. Like, essentially, just do not have breakfast. You can have like lunch and dinner. Try to not have carbs at lunch if you're gonna work after lunch. But because my most important work sessions, like I'm recording videos in the morning, I do not eat in the morning. So essentially, try to do intermittent fasting when you're gonna do your deepest work block, and I highly recommend that would be in the morning, because that's eat the frog, but that's another principle of productivity. If you want to go find a productivity video on my channel, you can. But essentially, do not eat in the morning, and then you get all your work done, and then you can eat at lunch and dinner. Simple as that. Alright, I hope this helped you, and I cannot wait to see the progress that you make. Cheers, bro.